Well, it's time to get back to some crafting. Hey, welcome back to the AnKorage, where everything is awesome, and we are going to be getting back into crafting to some degree. This is going to involve a board game, and this game dates back to as early as the 3rd century, because it sees that there's links up with ancient Egypt. So, you may have played this, you may have just seen it available out there, stuff like that. It is still sold today, and couple 3 years back I had actually purchased some ordinary board games, or cards, poker chips. I've got some other board games as well, and that's to have on hand for just playing games and not having to rely on technology, namely Nintendo, the Atari VCS that we got over here, a computer, electronic doodads like Switch, 3DS, and so on. So what I've got actually here today is Mancala, or Mancala, or I'm not sure exactly what the actual pronunciation is, but it should be, if I'm not mistaken, the pronunciation should be Mancala. But this is a board that's folded up. It's got a hinge right here. It's made of brass and excuse me, and it's wood, and it's got a natural finish, as you can see here. And I'm going to be doing something to kind of make it more unique to where I live, which is in New Hampshire. And out on the seacoast, it's like folks that live out there, they see this stuff. They should see this stuff all the time. And if they don't, then they more than likely have at one point or another. It's basically it's out on the seacoast. It's along the ocean, and what do we see often dealing with the ocean? Driftwood. So, of course, this looks like it's been freshly milled and such, but I want to make this look like it's driftwood, or I forget the actual term, but basically old wood that's been used again. And because it's very popular in modern, current day construction for renovations and things of that sort. And so I am going to be doing, I'm going to be faking it with this guy. Could I get this to look like driftwood? Sure. The long, drawn-out way would be to actually take it, stuff it in the ground for 6 months, and just let the weather get to it and stuff like that. But for me, for today, and for the sake of this video, I am taking the shorter route. So I have myself some stain. This is driftwood stain, and I have used it already before. And and it comes out looking very nice. And I have done this with one item before. It's actually I made a base out of a piece of pine for a Yule log, which I have up here on my shelf, because it's not in season, so it's away, and it's up there. And I did it that long away, where I took the board and I shoved it in the ground for 6 months, and yeah, it aged nicely. So I was able to use it. But for this, I am just going to be using a stain that actually has that. Now this Mancala board, if we open it up, we can see inside we have a whole bunch of stones that is used for playing it. And basically it's like you have them and you take one up and then you drop, and you keep circling it around until you get all of your beads, beans, stones, what have you, into one of the end doodads. Basically you're going around the board and getting into the end, and that's how you win. The first one to get them all into that little storage space is the winner. So it's a very simple game. It's very easy to play, and it can be fun. So there you go. But for this wood, what I see here is it's got a little bit of a sheen to it, which means there's like a lacquer or a shellac or something on it. So the first thing that I have to do is that I have to basically go at it with a sander just to kind of take that off. So basically the easiest way to do that would be, I use my little foam sanding block that I got from the dollar store, and I am just going to be running it along the grain, along the whole thing until, just not a whole lot, but enough in order to penetrate down to the wood. It isn't all that thick. So once I've got that all done, then once I've got that, I'm going to shake this up, and I am going to take probably, I've got stain brushes, but I'm probably just going to, I don't need to stain off, dirty a brush for it. So what I'm going to do is I'm probably just going to take some paper towel, dip it in there, and then I'm going to apply it. And when applying stain on wood, the way to do it is, you place it on there and you run it along the grains. That's the best way to do it. And you just repeatedly do that until you get full coverage. For the inside of this, with the holes, of course you can't run it along the grain. You'll just have to get in there and just kind of twist it back and forth until you got coverage, and if you can actually go along the grain, then certainly go ahead and do that. And that's kind of the approach that I'm going to take on that. And so I'm going to do that, and why don't we come back in a moment and you can see how this is all done. So here we are. Here's everything. Doesn't look much different, doesn't it? But I did do some things. It turns out that the stain, it wouldn't take, which basically means that the staining, shellacking that was done when it was manufactured got really deep into the grain, and I would really have to go at it with, let's say, an orbital sander, which I do have, but I can't take the time to put into that. So when you happen to look at it, you can see that what I did was, I did try to give it some sort of aging kind of look. You can see inside of the little cups, you can see a little bit of what looks like little dots or whatever. But I took some paper ash and I went in through and rubbed it in while it was still tacky. And I did that you can see it more so on the inside than you can on the outside. It's not as prominent on the outside, but you can see it. On the camera, you really can't see it all that great, but you can in person. So I happen to see it, and there it is. So this was kind of fun to put together. It's already put together, of course, but my little stain work, it was kind of fun to do. Just something to kind of kill some time and have something to kind of throw in a video, and there we go. So there we are. So thank you for coming along and checking it out on this rendition of, or this edition of Stain Quest, and we'll pick it up on in some sort of future video. So just gotta come up with something. So there we go. So thank you very much. Don't forget to subscribe and donate some crypto if you happen to do that kind of thing. All the information is down below. Check me out on PixelFed. Check me out on Mastodon, and we will have a lot of fun going on. And and please leave a comment down below. I much appreciate it. So we will talk to you later. So thank you very much. Skál.